The USC Trojans are back on the practice field Tuesday after a little more than a week off for spring break. The Trojans will officially practice for the fourth time this fall. Still a chunk of time left before that April 15th spring game for the Trojans. Here we're looking at 5 major questions left for this spring ball. Number 1, starting up front on that defensive line. Did USC get enough on the defensive line in the transfer portal this offseason already? Trojans brought in Anthony Lucas, Jack Sullivan, and Keon Bars. That's from Texas A&M, Purdue, and Arizona, respectively. Throw in Jamil Muhammad at rush end, who came over from Georgia State. Is that enough talent up there to get USC to a point where defensively they can match up not just with the best teams in the Pac-12, but the best teams in the nation, as USC is not shy about talking about wanting to play for a national championship this year? On the other side of the ball, question 2, where do the new offensive linemen fit on that line? That's Jarrett Kingston coming in from Washington State, Michael Tarquin coming in from Florida. Jarrett Kingston finished his Washington State career playing left tackle. Michael Tarquin played mostly at right tackle. Early on, Jarrett Kingston, the talk there is that he could play inside, play guard, and Michael Tarquin potentially a left tackle or a right tackle for USC. How does that fit? USC is going to play this spring without Ethan White, another transfer from Florida who's not on the roster yet, anticipated to join the program this summer. He's probably an interior guy at guard too. So a ton of shuffling to figure out along that offensive line. But by the end of spring, does USC have an idea of where Kingston and Tarquin could end up playing this fall? Staying on that offense, who is Caleb Williams' number 1 wide receiver this year? Jordan Addison is off to the NFL. He dealt with injuries last year, missed multiple games, still led USC in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. Dorian Singer comes over from Arizona. Zachariah Branch, a new early enrollee as a big-time 5-star, number 1 wide receiver, number 1 overall prospect in USC's 2023 recruiting class. Is it one of them? Brendan Rice had a phenomenal Cotton Bowl. Taj Washington developed a good rapport with Caleb Williams last year, and Mario Williams, who came over with Caleb Williams from Oklahoma, obviously a connection there. But who is that guy? Is there a guy who jumps up by the end of spring as Caleb Williams, number 1 guy, 3rd and 13? Who am I looking at? Who do I know is going to be open for me? Jordan Addison was that guy a lot of times last year in some big situations. Does USC have someone who can step up and fill that role? Number 4, going back to defense, is Mason Cobb the new starting middle linebacker? Eric Gentry is out for spring after undergoing ankle surgery just before spring ball started. Does Mason Cobb grab that spot? He comes in with a lot of confidence and the knowledge that USC needs a big performance from its linebackers this year. Are the USC coaches comfortable enough with him by the end of spring to say, yeah, that's your job? There's a lot of experience there now, certainly more than there was last year with Cobb, with Eric Gentry, with Shane Lee back, with Rajon Davis back. There's some talent there in that spot. How does that shake out? And is there an answer by the end of spring, or is that something that lingers as we get Eric Gentry back healthy and multiple guys fighting for that spot? And then number 5, looking at the cornerback position, is Damani Jackson, the big-time 5-star plus 2022 signee who dealt with injuries all last season, is he ready to assert himself at that cornerback spot? He's healthy now, and every time he was healthy last year, teammates and coaches raved about what he was able to do. Can he, by the end of spring, assert himself at one of those spots? Christian Roland Wallace comes over from Arizona with a ton of experience in the Pac-12 and a lot of good play behind him. A lot of thought that he could become a starter for USC and step in where Mekhi Blackman left off. Jacoby Covington, head coach Lincoln Riley has raved about Covington's offseason and what he's been able to do as he progressed. He took over as a starter late last year. Those two at the top, with their experience and their development, they could be tough to unseat. And then Sierra Wright comes back after starting for a significant portion of the 2022 season. So there are some guys that have some playing experience there, none of them with the combination of elite athleticism that Damani Jackson brings to that position. Where is he in that pecking order by the end of spring. A few key questions that USC probably doesn't need to have answers to by the end of spring. Still a lot of shuffling. Never know what that transfer portal can do with the rest of the offseason over the summer and into fall camp. But those are some key areas that need answers eventually and could be answered by the end of spring ball for the USC Trojans.